Yo, it's unlikely with Adrian Hernandez. I am very, very excited. There's no more perfect of a time to introduce and to have on for the first time ever the guest that we're about to bring in right now, newly signed with All Elite Wrestling, and here on behalf of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kevin Knight. Kevin, sir, how are you?
Man, I'm doing wonderful, man. Can't complain. How about the show?
Hey man, well, we holding in. We here based in Las Vegas. Obviously, a
Yeah,
couple things are going to be happening later this month here in Las
I
Vegas, so I
I
can't
heard of I
complain.
heard a couple things going on. I heard a couple events might be going on. I'm not sure.
Yeah, just one or two, and then the strip's always
Yeah,
popping. So we'll make do. We'll find out some time to do some stuff. But
right.
first and foremost, man, it's been real cool. We talked a little bit before the interview started, but when it comes to Unlikely and doing this show, I've really put a lot of intention into this show for the past maybe 2.5 years. And when I did that, I had to get out of the bubble of just watching WWE or just
Right.
watching AEW. And when I was seeking out to see what's going on in the rest of the world, you were one of the first names that popped up.
Wow.
And in these past 2.5 years, to see the growth of not only my show, but your career and kind of how it's going, it's like it's a really cool yin and yang situation. And
Man.
obviously, we are days removed from your first pay per view within AEW at AEW Dynasty with Will Ospreay.
Yes, sir.
And I know life's been pretty crazy the past couple weeks. So, can you put into words how nuts it's been?
Man. When you watching it from afar, it may look nuts, but when you actually doing it, it's just another day at the office. That's how I look at it. It's just another day at the office. I'm in there working. I'm in there with professionals, so I consider myself a professional. So it's nothing. I'm not saying it's nothing to me, but it's just another regular day. I can't think of it as like, oh my God, it's a career defining moment, which it may be, but I just got to go every day, step by step, brick by brick.
Well, it's the one thing that they never tell people that, like, yo, you may accomplish your dreams, right? Like, yo, I want to get signed to this company. I want to get signed to that company. And the minute you get signed, you realize, oh, all this work that I've done to lead me up here, it don't matter. Now we got to go
It
back to
don't.
work.
Oh yes, sir.
And
Back to
that's
square one.
amazing. Yeah, 100%. And also, I should say, you're joining us to talk about Windy City Riot, which is happening this Friday. You can check it out, New Japan Pro Wrestling World, to check out the pay per
Yes, sir.
view. Of course, the Intergalactic Jet Setters will be trying to get those tag team titles back.
Ain't no trying. We
And
doing. Ain't no trying. We doing.
facts, no disrespect. And I do want to ask you, because obviously you just signed with AEW, you're doing this show with New Japan. Can you kind of give us some insight with the contract situation and what's going on?
Oh yeah, for sure. New Japan got nothing to worry about. I'm not going nowhere. And, as I got the AEW graphic, I inked the deal as well with New Japan as well. So New Japan got a deal with me for another year or so, and so does AEW. So I'm doing both. Best of both worlds. The Jet is intergalactic, interdimensional, interpromotional. So I'm just staying true to my name.
Hey, a toast to signing two contracts. Salute on that. Salute on that for
Much
sure.
appreciated. Yes, sir.
Getting to, I guess you got a little taste of free agency. Of course, you're staying home. You're getting to be
Right.
a part of AEW. And it's just this new wave of wrestling where, like, I don't think this would have been possible 10 years from now, with companies being like, no, 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 it's cool.
Right.
For you getting that glimpse of free agency, and there was some rumors and speculation about some stuff we'll get to here in a second, but just
Yes,
getting
sir.
that taste and seeing all the attention and people wanting you with all the work that you've been putting in for all these years, how'd that feel?
Um, I guess it was kind of validating. The work that I did put in, it wasn't all for naught, and it was just a matter of just exhausting all options, just seeing what's out there. You know what I mean? And got to meet a lot of different people, got to have a lot of different experiences, got to really get to see the full scope of the landscape, and just see where I fit best. And yeah, just like you say, it's just putting in that work and just not letting it go to my head. That was the biggest thing. Just not letting it go to my head. Just staying down, and just doing what's best for me and my family. So that's really what it comes down to.
And it was really cool these past couple of weeks. It seems like every time people saw you appear on AEW, tweets that I would see would be like, yo, I need to find out more about this guy. Does anyone have any matches for recommendations? A lot of times people would point you to the Shelton Benjamin match, Zack Sabre Jr., just to name a couple. But for you, if I'm asking you, hey, you have to show one match to someone to sum up what you're about, what match would you pick out of curiosity?
Man, the Shelton Benjamin one was definitely one of my best recent ones, especially like in one of my home promotions in Seattle. Shout out to Defy. The energy was just different that night. And Shelton really put me to the test. So I would say outside of the Shelton match, maybe my match I had an impact with Moose a couple years ago. I'm not sure if you caught that one. I think that was like the summer of 2023. I feel like that match really was a validating moment to be able to be up. I think he was the world champion at the time with his group and everything. So it was dope just to be able to stand toe to toe with one of those guys like Moose. So I would say definitely check out a Moose match.
And it's cool because TNA, to be honest, one of your matches in TNA here that you guys did in Vegas at the Palms, that was the first time I got to see you live, and I was like, "Yo, the highlights don't do you justice, dog. Like, you need to go see you. You need to go see you live."
Man, that's my biggest regret. I can't watch myself in person, so y'all got to do it for me.
That's a bar. I do want to get to some of the rumors. I think the biggest thing was that WWE wanted you to go out to Orlando in the Performance Center for a tryout.
Sure.
Is that true? And if it was true, I don't think disrespect is the right word. That seems a little bit too strong. But did it make you feel a certain type of way? Because I just talked about some of the people you've wrestled and the matches you put on and the journey that you've been on.
I wouldn't say disrespectful in a way. I understand how the business works. And, WWE is a machine, and sometimes it may be a bubble, you know what I mean? So they may not know exactly what's out there. So I didn't take it as disrespect. If anything, I took it as a challenge just to show what I'm about. And if they didn't know me before, well, they definitely do now, or they did when I walked through those doors, I'm going to make a statement anywhere I go. And that was a great experience as well. I'm glad I got to do that. And I got to meet a lot of people in that company, and it was a great just being able to work with people so closely that you see on TV every week, that you see on their PLEs and everything. So for me personally, it was a great learning experience. I didn't take any slight to it. I understand how the business works. So it was, if anything, a networking opportunity, again, exhausting all of my options. So I feel like I only grew from that, just seeing how they work, seeing what they're looking for, and just seeing the environment that's there, because it's so different from me coming from the LA dojo, you know what I mean, where it's only like 4 of us in a class with Shibata, you know what I mean, and our teacher can't speak English. TNA and AEW don't have a training facility per se, so to see how they do it, it was just, a cool way to just see how they do things. So if anything, it was a positive experience for me overall.
And I hope people take that networking thing to heart, because I think a lot of people, because I think like people see opportunities and if I don't get anything out of it right now in this moment, I ain't doing it. You could go and meet someone that 5 years from now. It's like, hey, I remember you from so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. And people don't view it like that. And obviously, ultimately, you did sign with AEW. What was the determining factor, and why was it AEW?
It was really just a matter of just what was best for where I felt I fit in the scope of the company. And I still got to work with New Japan and do dates. And I still feel like there's so much unfinished business that I have on the New Japan side, so many untied stories, things that can go a little bit further. So I wanted to not only stay with New Japan, but just expand to the American audience as well. So it's like a best of both worlds type of thing. And I feel like that's where I get to grow in multiple markets, So, and Tony's a great person, great boss. And AEW is a place where they allow you to be you. They allow you to have a little bit of freedom to find yourself. So I feel like it's just a place for me to really stand out in the way that I can. Best way that
and
I
you
can.
Always got to, and you always have to be prepared for moments, because you never know what could happen.
Of
And that's
course, of
exactly, and
course.
this is kind of what's been happening with you in AEW. And you somehow get to open up the pay per view. You somehow get to go up against Will Ospreay. You guys put on a banger. I don't care what the Meltzer rating is or whatever. Whenever that comes out, I'm telling you,
Wrestling's
the
all
Adrian
subjective. You know
Hernandez.
what I mean?
Yeah, well, the unlikely got two thumbs up stamp of approval. Go watch that match.
Okay,
But for
all right.
you, before the music hits, when you're standing in Gorilla, like what was going through your mind getting to do this? Probably like the most eyeballs in America, probably the most eyeballs seeing a
Right.
match of yours.
Man, it was again another validating moment for me in my career, and I just kept telling myself, this is what we asked for. This is what we prayed for. This is what we prepared for. So there was no pressure on me because this is exactly what I wanted, to be on the biggest stage against one of the best in the world, to test my manhood, to test my strength. You know what I mean? To see where I really stand in this wrestling business, one on one. You know, it wasn't a multi-man. It wasn't a tag team match. It was, mano y mano. And unfortunately, I didn't come out with the win, but I feel like I stacked up great against one of the best, if not the best in the world. You know what I mean? In Philadelphia, where the crowd is popping. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people were in the stadium, but man, it was loud. And the fact that we had them on their feet, it was probably their first or second time seeing me. It was a dope experience. So I feel like it just gives me all the confidence to keep going, keep the momentum going.
Was it as good as you imagined it?
Man, it was even better. It was even better. There's always things that I can always do better. Wrestlers were artists. We're our own biggest critics all the time. So there's nobody anything could tell me that I didn't already tell myself. So of course, there's always things that I wish I can improve on, things
Yeah,
like
of
that.
course.
But overall, I was happy with it, and I definitely be a lot more prepared the next time we get to run into each other. Because, like you said, man, it's been what, like 10 days since I inked my name on the paper, so things been happening really fast. So it's always imperative to stay ready, so you don't got to get ready.
Hey, they've been putting you to work, but it's been turning out fruitful. And by the way, I just need to say this: blocking the Styles Clash by putting your hands together so you can't hook the
uh,
hands.
I've been watching the tape. So we we gotta elevate.
You talk about your journey and coming from LA and coming from the dojo. What's the number one thing you learned in that experience?
Man, Shibata is number one thing is I didn't know anything about New Japan Pro Wrestling before I got there. As crazy that may sound, I didn't know what a young lion was. I didn't know what the process was before I got there. So me getting there was like a whole new world, literally. So the biggest thing that I learned, I took away from the dojo, was just your fundamentals. Fundamentals got to be on point in everything that you do, and just using your voice. Before I got into wrestling, I played football and everything. So in football, you got your helmet on. You don't really show your facial expressions and stuff like that. You're just
Nope.
out there just hitting stuff. You know what I mean? So wrestling, especially at the dojo, really opened me up just how to express myself through my emotions, and using my voice, man. Whether you're performing in front of 20 people, 200 people, 20,000 people, you got to have the same energy no matter what. And you just got to be able to put that out there. So just being consistent with the energy, because Shibata had us in there working, in front of nobody. So he had us in there preparing for the Tokyo Dome years before it ever happened. So that's the biggest thing I got for it, just expressing yourself through voice and emotions.
I can't wait for our sit down in studio, our long form, because just not knowing and going into that, and obviously
Yeah,
there's so much respect, there's so much honor and legacy that shit I don't even know fully or
right.
can grasp it fully. To go into that blind and to see where you're at now, like it's crazy. And obviously it's not just the dojo. Natty is Natty and TJ with the dungeon.
hmm
That's just another place where wrestling lives, and you've been able to experience that as well. Can you talk to me about that experience, though?
Man, the same things that Shibata was teaching is the same thing that Natty and TJ are teaching over at the dungeon. Using your voice, having that heart. Um, having that energy, having that, she calls it that fuck you, you know what I mean? Having that, whatever it is that's going to bring it out of you, that's that the crowd is really going to feel, you know. I like to relate it to my first girlfriend broke up with me after the first day in 5th grade. So every time I'm in there, I'm just still pissed off at the 10-year-old me, you know what I mean? I was the fastest one in class. I was like, what do you mean you breaking up with me? Like, what more else can I do? You know, so it's just bringing that energy out in the ring. And she stresses fundamentals, stresses you know, having the lungs to do things and having that passion. You know, she's a generational athlete. It's in her blood. So she's been doing this since she was born, before she was born. So she's very passionate, and it's dope to see how she works and how she thinks in person.
Yo, you're in good hands in all the places that you're learning and that you're going, and that just makes me extremely happy, as you can tell, with a smile on my face. I do have to ask you, where was the first date? Where'd y'all go?
Man,
What'd you do?
I was in 5th grade, so I think after I
Movies?
won, yeah, nah, I was 10 years old. We didn't even go nowhere. I asked her out through a note. You know what I mean? Slid her the note. Next day I come back, she said she got to break up with me. I said, ain't this by the, you know what I'm saying? So I've
She
kept
said
that.
you were broke. It's like, I can't work legally. I'm not allowed to work. I can't. There's nowhere I can work.
I
I
guess
don't
I ain't.
understand.
I guess I couldn't get her nothing from the book fair or something. I didn't get her no ice cream from lunch, so I messed up. You know what I
Shout
mean?
out to the Scholastic Book Fair. You held
Shout
this
out to
down for
them.
years. I don't even know if they still do it. Talking to you about the dojo, talking to you about the dungeon, talking to you about learning.
Yeah,
One thing you have learned is the art of the drop kick.
man.
One of the prettiest in the game. I have number one. Have you marked how high you've ever gotten? And number two, just talk to me about the art of it, because it is an art.
It's definitely an art, and it's something that you definitely have to practice. I can't tell you how many times I did that drop kick before Shibata, before I debuted in the dojo. I think before the first taping, and literally, shout out to Alex Coughlin. He took like 20 of my drop kicks, no lie, straight. Because Shibata was like, I need the timing to be perfect, need the height, need the landing, everything. He's very detail oriented. You know, people think the drop kick is such a very simple move, but man, there's so many things that go into it, and that's why you see people like Okada. You see people who has got a great drop kick, AJ Styles, Randy Orton. Like that's a staple in their offense because man, anybody that doesn't even know wrestling knows about a drop kick, you know, and that drop kick got to be lethal. Um, so one, you got to have a good vertical leap. Your arms got to be into it. You got to put your whole body into it. And the second thing, the biggest thing is just the timing. You got to know how to time it up, whether it's they coming off the ropes, whether they're coming off a move, or however you want to place it in the match to get the best reaction possible. You got to know where to place it. So it's definitely an art to having that drop kick, man. It's not no easy task.
Yo, it could be its own Jordan logo. To be honest, I mean, you might need to put that logo you on some merch. You can have that idea for free.
Say no more.
Speaking
Say
of
no more.
merch, speaking of presentation, the one thing that is clear on my notes here, I put Wave God vibes. When you
Wave
come
God
out,
vibes.
you
Okay.
know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The vibes are immaculate. There's the
Max
kids
B
call it
type.
aura. Yeah, straight up. Yo, talk to me
Okay.
about the shades. I know some people they still like the look with the orange pants, the
Right.
purple
Right.
with the jacket at Dynasty. Just talk to me about the swag because that plays a part too.
Man.
I
Yeah.
went purple
Definitely.
for you too with the lights, by the way. I did that for you.
Nah, oh, hey, much appreciated, much appreciated. Shoot, I got to give the glasses shout out all to Kushida. I love his look, just with his Back to the Future glasses, and with that being my partner, you know, I kind of took that look from him and put it into my own style. I had one of my friends paint over those sunglasses and give it a little reflective look. So it kind of actually came out looking like Owen Hart, Bret Hart's glasses, ironically. And that mixed in with the purple, man, I think it just makes it pop. So I don't know. I like trying out different looks. I like the orange. I like the purple. I've tried out blue before. So it's got to, you know, see what works best. You know, the swag and the fashion is definitely an important part of the wrestling game. Got to have that look down. So I don't know. We're gonna keep playing around and just see what sticks. You know.
I feel you. And you brought up your
Yeah.
tag team partner again. You guys will be going after the tag team titles, the New Japan Strong Openweight tag team titles this Friday. Windy City Riot. You
Yes,
can go
sir.
watch it. You can go watch it. New Japan Pro Wrestling World to get the pay-per-view. And your tag team name is called the Intergalactic Jet Setters. Who came up with the
Yes, sir.
name?
It was kind of a collaboration between me and Kushida and the New Japan office. We tried to go with some other names, but they wouldn't let us trademark it. So we went with something that was a little unique and that gave off the futuristic vibe, and that we are jet setters in a way. Like me being the first African American young lion, first to ever do that. He's a multi-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. You know what I mean? Went to NXT and came back and still won belts. So it's like we're the first of our kind in every way you think of it. So that's how we represent ourselves.
How did it feel to be in the Tokyo Dome and to get to perform in the Tokyo Dome?
Man, it was kind of surreal, but me never growing up watching Japanese wrestling, it's not like I had a personal or emotional attachment to it. So for me, going in there, it was amazing. It was a spectacle for me to walk out there and see it for the first time. Like, wow, this is really it. This is the Tokyo Dome everybody talks about, and it really is as magical and a spectacle as they say it is. And as much history is in that building, man, the energy was so crazy. And the fact that I was in there with 7 other people, there was no nerves. There was no nerves. So I just knew I needed to highlight what me and Kushida had to do. And unfortunately, we didn't come out with the win. But that whole experience, walking down that long ramp, just hearing the people, just hearing after you do something cool, hearing the people with a 2-3 second delay, because it's a big place. So it was dope, man. I highly recommend. Highly recommend it.
Yo, one of these Wrestle Kingdoms, we might have to pull up, to be honest.
Yeah.
Plus, I need to go to Riviera. I know you've been to the steakhouse.
No,
I need to go
got
to Tokyo Disney. We need to just make this a whole little thing. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Before we get out of here, I want to close this out nice, short, and sweet as one of the, or as the newest member of AEW. If you have a message to the AEW faithful on what they can expect, I know you've given them a little taste so far, but what they can expect from you.
What they can expect the unexpected out the Jet. I understand AEW is where the best wrestle, but man, the Jet is here to shake some things up and just bring a little different flavor. Just how we do things in the ring and out the ring. So I don't like giving my plans away too much. I like to keep people confused. I like to keep people scrambling. So just tune in every Wednesday, every Saturday, and you're gonna be in for a show.
Can I have a quick follow-up?
What's up?
And you don't have to answer this. I'm just curious. Do you hurt people?
Jay White wasn't in the Owen Hart tournament for a reason. So he obviously got hurt by something. So that's the best way I can answer that question.
Unlikely with Kevin Knight. Thank you for the time, Jet.
Yes, sir. Much appreciated.